When I say pharmacist, what's the first thing that comes to mind? Probably counting pills. Well, think again. On this episode, I have a special guest who's a retail pharmacist. Her name is Elissa. She's been working in retail for over 2 years now. She went the traditional route. She did her undergrad in pharmacy, got a PharmD, and now works at one of the biggest retail pharmacy out there in the United States. If you've ever wondered what working in a pharmacy looks like, well, this episode is for you. In this episode, we talk about her education, all the exams that she had to take, and the career path she took to get to where she's at now. We also talk about her day-to-day life as a pharmacist. So if you're interested in pharmacy or just intrigued of what a pharmacist does, well, this episode is for you. Welcome to One in STEM podcast. I'm your friend in STEM, Mary, and this podcast is all things STEM. I bring people from all over the STEM world to talk about their career paths, how they got to where they are, and how you can get to where they are right now. If working as a pharmacist is something you're interested in, this episode is for you. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. See you in the episode. Elissa, I am so excited you're here. Everyone, just let me let you know on a secret. This is my best friend. We've known each other since we were, 13 years old? So now I'm not going to say our ages. I'm joking. But we've been friends for over 10 years. And so we've seen each other in every phase of our lives since the teenage years until now. And the reason why she's on this podcast is not because she's my best friend, but because she's a STEM baddie as well. She's not in biotech and she's not in research, but she's in pharmacy. And so I'm so excited to have you here.
I'm so excited to be here.
Okay, so we're going to try to be as professional as we can on the pod because it's just it's funny that I'm actually interviewing you and I already know everything that went on in your life. But I think your story and what we've gone through is really important to highlight to people and for people to understand hey, a pharmacy can be intimidating and scary, or the STEM world can be intimidating and scary, but just do it, right?
Exactly.
Okay, so first things first, I want everyone to know, what do you currently do right now?
So I'm a pharmacist in a retail pharmacy, just your average pharmacist. And I work in the corporate world.
Nice. And so when you say retail pharmacy, can you sort of name the couple corporate retail pharmacists out there just so people sort of understand where you're coming from?
Yeah, like Walgreens, CVS, Rite Aid, any one of these big chain pharmacies.
That's awesome. And so now you're a big time pharmacist. So what brought you first into pharmacy?
So I have always had interest in pharmacy. I always wanted to work in the healthcare world. I always had this curiosity of how drugs work. And the more I searched into it and I learned, because I started thinking about it in high school. Yeah. And the more I searched about it and learned more about it, the more I noticed that medications can actually change someone's quality of life, even from the smallest headache to the big health issues. So I was just very curious about that, and I was interested in knowing more. And basically, this field is very wide, and you get to learn so much. And basically, there's always something new to learn about.
And you said in high school, you researched about it and then you figured about it and you're oh, this is something I want to do. What's one thing in school that made you think yes, I could do that?
Probably biology. I really liked biology. I didn't like physics. I didn't like any of these. And I was really interested in biology. The thing is in pharmacy, you have to be interested in chemistry. And I wasn't really interested in that, but I felt like I had to try at least and see. Yeah. But mainly biology.
Yeah. I remember in biology classes, I don't know if people who are listening, you have a friend who goes into a pharmacy and a friend who goes into who's also interested in biology, but either wants to go into med school or wants to go into something research. And so we were those two friends where one person was set to go to pharmacy and then one person was set to go something I was going to be pre-med, but then decided not to be pre-med. but we would like get the same grades in classes. We would do the same things in
Exactly.
classes, study together, do everything together. Like Alyssa and I, we would be like, we were the third in class at some point,
Mm-hmm.
and we wouldn't study as hard. Like it was just so funny, but like we both were sort of similar in high school and like grades were similar, everything, but we went on the same path, but different at the same time.
Exactly.
Healthcare, it's both biology, it's both a little bit chemistry, but now she's a pharmacist and now I work in biotech. But I just wanted to highlight that because it's so interesting where like we have the same interests in high school and we were so close and we were getting the same grades, and yet now we're doing completely different things.
Exactly.
And that's something where like I just want to say like high school does not define where you're going to be in life. Like yeah, you might like things or you might be good because like for example, I was better at physics than she was. She was better at chemistry than I was, but we were both the same in biology. So these grades really didn't define like who we were. We just kept on going, kept on working and trying to pave like the path for ourselves, and then we both ended up in great positions.
Exactly. I
Yeah.
agree.
Yeah. And so from there, we both went to the same university for
Hmm.
undergrad. It's LAU. And you went down the pharmacy route. Can you talk about the first chemistry class you ever took?
Oh
I
my
just want to
gosh. I failed
want to
it.
highlight that.
I failed it. It was bad. Yeah. I just couldn't understand. And I was
Hmm.
like, am I really in the right field? Like, I mean, pharmacy is all about chemistry, like the background of it, the basics of it is understanding. Like one of the major like classes that I had to take in college is basically a medchem, which is
Hmm.
all chemistry. And but
Yeah.
the first one, which is the
Chemo-
basic chemistry, exactly, I failed that. I think it was twice. I failed it twice.
I don't remember that, but
I don't know, but yeah, it was bad. And I was really down about it. And I didn't know if I wanted to continue that way because since
hmm
chemistry was such a big thing in pharmacy, I didn't know if
hmm
I could handle it. But I
hmm
just went for it and I kept on pushing myself and I
yeah.
did it in the end.
Yeah. Yeah, you became a pharmacist. I
Yeah,
think that you didn't let that one class define you or define who you are. Even maybe you failed it twice. I don't remember that, but if you did, like it still didn't stop you from achieving the first passion that you had towards pharmacy. And that's pretty
exactly.
important for people out there because I get a lot of messages of people who are like, "Hey, I failed this class. I don't know if this is for me or not." But as you said, like a failed class does not define who you are.
Exactly. Just keep on going. Grades
Do you
don't
want
define you, but you will basically get to it to wherever you are.
And for you, what were some things that helped you keep going during like these difficult times?
Obviously, the support system, your friends, you, obviously, like, you
Yeah.
have to surround yourself with good people and
Mhm.
you just have to remember why you started this, basically,
Mhm.
and remember where you want to be and just keep on
Mhm.
going. Even if you fail, you just have
Mhm.
to keep going. So, yeah, you just have to basically focus on your target. And even if you fail, you just have to keep going because you'll get there eventually. And if
Mhm.
it doesn't work out, it will work out some other way. And you just have to remember that you are the only person that is there 100% of the time for yourself. Everybody around you, even your parents, your family, your best friends, your friends, they will not be there 100% of the time. So
Mhm.
you are going to be there for yourself. And you just have to believe in yourself and have faith in yourself. And yeah, just keep on going. You just have to pick yourself up and keep on moving and keep on pushing and finding inspirations in things that you love,
Mhm.
finding comfort in whatever, like whatever comforts you, just
Mhm.
do it. And then make sure you pick yourself up and start over, even if you fail, because failures will not define you. Your
Mhm.
grades don't define you.
Mhm.
We obviously go into, like, we grow up thinking that grades define us, but even if we fail
Yeah.
in high school or in college or whatever, your grades don't define you.
Yeah.
But you just have to have a positive mindset to keep on
Mhm.
going and never forget why you started doing what you love and why you
Mhm.
started doing the things that you are working for,
Mhm.
basically.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
Never give up. Keep on going.
Yeah.
Everybody fails. It's okay. It's fine.
Yeah.
Everybody has bad days, but that
Yeah.
doesn't mean that you will not get there, and
Mhm.
that doesn't mean that you're not gonna get to where you're supposed to be, basically.
Yeah. Go off. That's
Mhm.
awesome. Yeah, I think what you said, you pointed out a lot of things, especially us like growing up together and growing up in the space of like the biology and pharmacy world, seeing other people like getting A's and getting B's, like we would sit and be like for whoever listening to this and can like relate to this, like we would sit together and be like, why aren't we getting those grades? Or what are we missing that they're doing that we're not doing? And sometimes, yeah, we would beat ourselves down and wish and hope we were like other people. But at the end of the day, you are gonna have moments like these. But at the end of the day, it's what you do after that feeling. It's whether you keep on going, you pick yourself up and be like, okay, I gotta see. Okay, so what? Like next time, I'm gonna study harder. I'm gonna take more notes. I'm gonna be more proactive in my studying. Cause like, I don't know about you, but like we used to study last minute. And so I don't know how we used to be like, oh yeah, why did I get a C when we like crammed all the material for the exam week of? And so like, and then it's like once you go into new environments like university, you try to build routines and habits differently than what you're used to in school. And I feel like for us, the first semester, especially going in hard fields, you just have to learn and adapt on what those new things are to you because like, no one teaches you how to study in uni.
Exactly.
And so that's some of the conversations me and you we've had and we've tried to learn from and grow from because it's like hard to go from like a high school studying is not the same as studying in university.
100%.
Yeah. And so you've had a lot of hard classes. I remember you would study, I would be like dead asleep while you're still studying. So what are some of the classes that you took as a pharmacy student?
So we took a lot of, obviously, pharmacology,
Mhm.
medcam,
Mhm.
which was one of the basic courses, all about the structures of each like drug and everything, and we have to
Mhm.
memorize them and
Mhm.
draw them out, all of that.
Mhm.
And a lot of what was that course for chemistry?
Organic chemistry.
Organic chemistry. Yep.
Yeah.
You see, I don't like it.
You just erased
Yeah.
it from your mind. You're like,
Exactly.
you shoved it in so tight that you're like, I don't even remember what I took.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
basically, what um a big part of it obviously was how to like how drugs work in our
Mhm.
systems and how drugs are as they like what different types of drugs there are and
Mhm.
all the categories and everything. We had
Yeah.
to memorize everything. But mainly pharmacology, medcam, kinetics, and anything that has to do with how the drug, like the drug dosage and everything, all of
Mhm.
that, you obviously have to
Yeah.
know that. Yeah, it was
Mhm.
pretty challenging. So, you remember when we were in the dorms and
Yeah.
you would knock on my door and I'd just be sitting on my bed crying. I just didn't know what to
Yeah.
do and I was
Mhm.
lost and I didn't know how to study
Yeah.
and like memorize everything. I would
Mhm.
memorize something and then forget something else. So I was kind of a mess, especially the first year.
Mhm.
But yeah, you just pull through and
Mhm.
yeah.
It just happened. And so do you think for like pharmacy, maybe it's a hot take that what I'm going to ask, but do you think pharmacy as a student it's more about memorizing than having like the is it more memorizing than being smart? That's the question I want to ask. It's a hot take. Sue me for asking this question, but is it or is it not?
So it's kind of both, I would say. At first,
Okay.
there is a lot of memorizing because you have to memorize structures,
Mhm.
names, categories, everything. But towards the end, I would say, like, towards the clinical part, that's where
Mhm.
analyzing would come. That's where, but mainly, I would say that it is more of memorizing. And if you
Yeah.
understand what you're memorizing, obviously, you're not just memorizing to memorize, you
Mhm.
would be able to analyze later on. But at
Mhm.
first, yeah, there is a big chunk of memorizing, obviously.
Yeah, cause like, yeah, you have to memorize so many medications and you're like, "Yeah, for this, I need to." or for this disease, you could take this medicine or you could take that medicine. So it's a lot of memorizing to do. But as you said, also clinical is where more the critical thinking is. So you did mention the clinical. Can you sort of walk us through how how do you get to the clinical? What is the clinical? Like, why would you go into clinical? All these stuff?
Yeah, of course. So, first of all, in LAU, which was our university, we had 2 years of pre pharmacy. And
Mhm.
then you get to do the interviews and see if you go into the pharmacy school. And then you do
Mhm.
3 years of pharmacy school. And it's a total of 5 years. But then there was an extra step that we could take back in our country where you can do the PharmD program. And basically,
Mm.
the PharmD program is the Doctor of Pharmacy program. It's what you need to practice as a pharmacist in the States.
Mhm.
So, not all countries basically will need the PharmD program. A lot of
Mhm.
countries just need like a master's or a bachelor's. But in the States, usually it is the standard. You need to have a PharmD to be able to practice as a pharmacist. And
Mhm.
basically, it's an extra year that you are exposed to clinical learning. So, like rotations in the hospital, rotations in the retail pharmacy, where
Mhm.
you get a hands on experience on about like real patients in the real world. So,
Yeah.
critical thinking, you get to be on a team with the
Mhm.
doctors, the nurses, and just do rounds on patients and participate in
Mhm.
like the medical plan for the patient, basically.
Mhm. And so during your time in like pharmacy, what made you to decide to choose PharmD and not just go a different route?
So I wanted to work in the States. That was
Mhm.
my plan going out of college.
Mhm.
I wanted to go to and work in the States. And I think that was like the startup point.
Mhm.
And so I just had it in mind since I started pharmacy school that I wanted to do the PharmD
Mhm.
program to be able to go to the States and started
Mhm.
working.
Mhm.
But I didn't know if I wanted to go into like clinical, as in once I finished my PharmD, I wanted to be in the hospital settings, in
Mhm.
the retail setting, or what I wanted to do. I just had this idea of doing the PharmD program. That's all I want.
Mhm.
That's all I um knew.
Mhm. Mhm. And so do you think that hands-on experience sort of helped you decide what next step you wanted to take?
Yes. 100%. Because so being in the hospital place, well, having that hands on experience, especially in the hospital, was really emotional for me. So,
Mm.
what I really loved about the hospital is that you get to directly talk to and work with doctors, nurses, all the healthcare team, and all that. And what
Mhm.
you do is you analyze all the data, the labs,
Mhm.
the patient case, everything with the doctors, but
Mhm.
you have to round with them. So
Mm.
you round and you go to the patient's room and you present the case basically with the doctors. And you tell the doctor what you think the best plan is for the patient.
Mhm.
And I really enjoyed that because you analyze and take everything that you studied and apply it on each patient case because you
Mhm.
start to have a medication plan that's specific for each patient. So that was
Mm.
really nice to be exposed to many patients and to be able to get that hands-on experience basically. But it was very emotionally intense for me to be able to
Mm.
be in that hospital setting. So
Yeah.
even though I really liked it, I couldn't honestly handle it. And so that's how I knew that maybe the hospital place isn't the best place for me. And so that's why I
Yeah.
went into the retail route.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that you pointed out some very important points by like if you didn't get exposed to that hospital setting for X amount of time, you wouldn't have known that this is something you are feeling. And plus you let yourself allow or you actually allowed yourself to feel that feelings and be like, okay, this is not something I want to live with the rest of my life. Let me go a different route. And I think it's
Exactly.
so important to be like aware of these situations. And you like because you had that experience, you did not commit early on to a hospital setting. You did not commit to anything because you had those kind of experience, like those hands-on experience. And
Exactly.
so do you feel like during your time as a pharmacy student, all the way to where you are right now, do you feel like you had a good sense of direction of where you wanted to end up, or was it just more like of a go with the flow kind of thing?
Sometimes I knew that I wanted to be like to work in a retail pharmacy. And
Mhm.
then sometimes I was like, okay, I'm just going with the flow. Maybe I like it, maybe I won't. Because
Mhm.
I also didn't have that much exposure in the
Yeah.
retail pharmacy from PharmD. Because when I was rotating in the PharmD in the retail pharmacy, I was just kind of the delivery person. So
Mhm.
we were interning inside a hospital, inside a pharmacy in the hospital.
Mhm.
And we would just basically take the medication from the pharmacy and just go and deliver it into the patient's room. So we
Yeah.
didn't actually have like really hands on experience in the retail
Mhm.
pharmacy as much as the hospital. So in the beginning, I was like, I don't know if I like it. I don't know if I want to go with the retail pharmacy route, but I
Mhm.
also don't like the hospital. So I was
Yeah.
like, maybe I didn't really expose myself to the retail pharmacy as much as I should have, but I knew that
Mhm.
the hospital was a no for me.
Yeah.
So at the beginning, it was more about going with the flow, but I think towards the end, I knew that it was more like my head was set on the retail pharmacy part.
And so for retail pharmacy, I think when people hear a pharmacist, they're like, all you do is count pills. And I know for a fact that's not the case. And I know it aggravates a lot of pharmacists. So can you sort of walk us through a day-to-day life as a retail pharmacist?
Of course. Yes, we don't just count pills. We don't just answer calls. We're not just chilling in the pharmacy. We
Yeah.
are actually it's hard. The pharmacy, the retail pharmacy is very fast paced, very fast paced. And as a pharmacist, you are handling a lot, like at the same time, basically. So you are making sure that you are verifying prescriptions the correct way. You're making sure that you are filling them correctly and your team is filling them correctly. You are managing your team, making sure that everybody knows what they're doing because you are handling patients, you are handling people's lives, basically. So because you are the only pharmacist in the pharmacy, you have a lot of responsibilities and you have to make sure that everyone does their job correctly so that nothing goes wrong. Because
Mhm.
if one mistake slips up, the patient could be at risk.
Mhm.
So you are also counseling patients. Anybody that has a question, anybody that calls the phone, anybody that has a question on how to use their medications, on side effects, on anything like that. And you are also taking, like, giving vaccines. That's
Mhm.
a main part of being a pharmacist in a retail pharmacy is giving vaccines throughout the whole year,
Yeah.
especially during flu season, which is right now. And also, obviously, talking to the doctors, talking to nurses,
Mhm.
anybody that has a question. And one big thing that people might not know about pharmacists in the retail pharmacy is that we solve a lot of insurance problems. So,
Mhm.
insurances are very big in the healthcare world.
Yeah.
So, you technically have to make sure that you are putting the correct insurance information so that the patient doesn't pay a lot. So it's a lot of responsibilities and a lot of issues that you have to handle all at the same time.
Mhm.
So it's kind of, you have to start learning to prioritize. Some things
Mhm.
are more important than others. And then you have to solve problems very quickly.
Mhm.
But I mean, it's what I also really like about being working in retail pharmacy is that you are really accessible to patients. So you are
Mhm.
kind of the first healthcare provider that is accessible to a patient. So you're kind of like the bridge when patients can't
Mhm.
really go to their doctors immediately
Mhm.
and they have a question that a doctor can't immediately answer. They can
Yeah.
come and ask us. Obviously, we can't diagnose, but we can
Yeah.
kind of guide them to the right way and
Mhm.
help them with like a question that they have, or "Oh, you're feeling that way, go to the ER right now. Or no, don't worry about it. Go ahead and take this medication. If that doesn't work, contact your doctor." So we are kind of the first um,
Mhm.
healthcare providers that patients can come and ask us anything.
Yeah. And so I just want to ask this funny question. How many times a day do you actually count pills?
Oh my gosh. Well, I mainly count the controls. That's it.
Okay. Okay.
So that would be like part of my day.
Okay. Okay. So you do actually, a chunk of your day is actually
Yes,
counting pills.
but not the whole day. It's just a
Okay.
very small part of my day. Everything
Okay.
else does
Yeah.
not have to do with pills.
Yeah. I do want you to mention how you don't have chairs in where you work. Can you sort of talk about that?
Yeah.
Because when you told me about it, I'm like, "Wait, what? Why?" Oh,
Yep.
yeah.
Retail pharmacies do not have chairs. If you want a break, you can go in the back and try to sit down and all that. But I don't know why we're not allowed to sit or we have to stand all day. Maybe it's because we just move around a lot.
Mm.
But yeah, I'm not, I always had that question.
Yeah, yeah, when you told me, I was like, "Wait, that's, like, so hard to be standing all day and trying to, like, run around." Well, in the lab, we stand a lot, but, like, we also sit a lot by our benches, so I don't think it's the same one-to-one ratio. And so I just wanna go back to, like, I know as a pharmacy and healthcare person, there's a lot of examinations or exams that, like, you think you graduated and you're done, and yes, I could get a big girl job, but then you get faced with more exams, and I know that's something you got faced with. So can we sort of talk about that more?
Yeah, of course. So after the PharmD, I came to the States.
Mhm.
And to be able to work as a pharmacist, you
Yeah.
have to do two exams. So the first one, which is the general one, it's
Mhm.
the NAPLEX exam. So the NAPLEX exam basically it tests your overall knowledge on all those 6 years that passed and
Mhm.
overall knowledge on obviously medications, how they work, patient care, everything else. And that is basically the key to work as a pharmacist in the States. So you
Mhm.
cannot work no matter where you graduated from, even if you graduated from like in the States, you still have to take your NAPLEX. So it's the
Mhm.
licensing exam that we have to take in order to be able to work here. It's like
Mhm.
basically the boards exam and the doc like for doctors and then
Yeah.
or the bar exams for lawyers, for example.
Mhm.
So we had to take that. That one is the general one. And then the second one is the law exam, which is
Mhm.
called the MPJE. And that exam is specific to each state. Each state has their own MPJE because each state has different basically laws and regulations for pharmacy. They're
Mhm.
kind of like they're all generally similar. There are just some small differences. For example, I'm working in Virginia.
Mhm.
Our MPJE is different than another, like all other states. So if I wanted to move to another state, I would have to retake just the MPJE exam for that specific state.
And so for these exams, like, are they hard? Did you have to, like, study a lot for?
Yes. So the NAPLEX exam is basically all the 6 years all in one exam. So you
How
have
do you
to,
remember everything?
you try to highlight some stuff, like
Yeah.
the important stuff. We had
Yeah.
like a big book that we had to print out. I remember
Yeah.
we went to Staples and I actually had to print out a whole book for the exam.
Yeah.
And on the first page, it says only study what is underlined or something like that, because there were so many information in that
Mm.
book that you
Yeah.
cannot study all of it. And it
Yeah.
takes about, I would say, 3 to 4, 5 months basically for you to
Wow.
be, yeah, okay and good to study. I would say 3 months would be good
Yeah.
to go through the book and study and revise and everything and have the main chapters in your head. But the thing is, we don't really know what every year the NAPLEX exam would what would come on the NAPLEX.
Mhm.
So you just have to kind of memorize everything and familiarize yourself with everything.
Mhm.
But yeah, it
Mhm.
was it was long, it was challenging.
Yeah. I bet.
Yeah, it was really long and but you just have to keep going and letting yourself know that you've done it before 1,000
Yeah.
times. It's just one exams, not 7 exams or whatever. But you just
Mhm.
have to and it's I think it was like 7 hours long or something. So in the
Wow.
exam I was
Bet.
nodding off exactly and I was like, I have time, I have time. And then in the end you're like, oh my gosh, I gotta finish, I gotta do this.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was crazy. But and you also have like calculations that you have to make sure that you remember how to do
Mhm.
them. And
Mhm.
yeah, it was crazy, but it was worth
Wow.
it.
Yeah. Yeah. I bet it was worth it should be worth it, or else you'd
Yeah,
be like, "Why did I spend all that time
exactly.
studying and doing all that stuff?" So some people might wonder, like, how did you get that job in retail? Did you apply on LinkedIn? Did you know people who referred you? Like, how did that process happen?
So we actually had someone that was in that retail pharmacy that was
Mm-hmm.
recruiting people. And he reached out to me and he was like, hey, uh, we have a position. Are you interested in? You obviously
Mm-hmm.
have to go in and apply and go through the process and everything. But if you are interested, we can start you as an intern before you graduate
Mm-hmm.
and see how you like it and everything. And if you do like it, you can start after you graduate and do your exams and pass the exams and everything. You can start
Mm-hmm.
as a pharmacist in retail pharmacy, basically. So I basically got recruited and I went through the whole process of
Mm-hmm.
interviewing and everything and all that. And yeah, I was hired.
Oh wow, that's awesome. That's pretty fun. I think some people like just wonder how do they get these jobs, and it's just sometimes through the connections you make and the people you know. You never know who has a job for you or who will keep you in mind and reach out to you to get those jobs. Yeah.
Exactly.
I did want to also mention the job market for pharmacists. We've talked about this before on this side, is that pharmacists are needed, especially in the US. Is that still the case?
In some places, yes. In some
Mm-hmm.
states, I have heard that they are in need of pharmacists, especially also in the hospital setting
Mm-hmm.
and in retail. In retail,
Mm-hmm.
I would say a lot of pharmacists go into the retail pharmacy, do it for a couple of years, and then they leave because
Mm-hmm.
it's such a challenging job.
Mm-hmm.
I think there are some places that yes, they are in need of pharmacists, definitely, and it's a pretty in demand job.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so you said there are some pharmacists who go into retail for a couple of years and then leave. Where do they leave to?
They either, I think some of a lot of them do remote work, like
Mm-hmm.
for I think corporate. Um,
Mm-hmm.
they even can go into like the retail pharmacy and then climb the corporate ladder and not
Mm-hmm.
work on the bench, which is
Not on
like the
site. Yeah.
pharmacy bench. Yes, exactly. The corporate
Mm-hmm.
world. Some people go into like big pharma. Some people go
Mm-hmm.
into like anything specific, kind of like
Mm-hmm.
dermatologists, clinics,
Mm-hmm.
and some people go back to the hospital.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And so with that, where do you see yourself in 10 years? I'm not gonna say 5, I'm gonna say 10.
Yeah. I mean, for now, yeah, I am. I'd like to grow more in the retail world right now,
Mhm.
but maybe in 10 years, I would say maybe go into like a clinic or
Mhm.
like go into a pharmaceutical company, maybe.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm not too sure, but
Yeah.
I think a pharmaceutical company would be nice.
Yeah.
I have never had an experience over there or
Yeah.
went and interned or anything. So I think
Yeah.
it would be nice to at least experience that and see if I
Yeah.
like it.
Yeah. Well, you know someone in that world.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's the fun in life and in careers where you don't know what you want to do, but you have the background, you have the experience, you have the degrees, and it's just like the world is your oyster, and you could just like within limits, of course, but you could just like try different things and try the things that you like and just bring that experience that you have gained from retail and try to apply that in different settings, wherever
Exactly.
setting it is.
Exactly.
Oh, we talked about education, experience, all that stuff. And I wish we could dive in deeper because I have so many stories of like us just crying, us just failing exams together, trying to study together. And then instead of studying, we end up doing something completely different. Or instead of studying, we end up taking a trip somewhere. I'm saying all this just to say that we both went through hard education. Like we both chose hard undergrads. Pharmacy is not easy, biology is not easy. We both chose these hard degrees, but we still had a great time. We didn't get A's and B's. Maybe some classes we did, some classes we didn't. Some classes we got C's. But at the end of the day, C's get degrees. And it's not about the grade that you get, it's about the experience that you have, how you set yourself differently from everyone else, how you show up. And the reason why I have you on this podcast is because, yes, like you weren't probably the first in your class, and you don't have to be the first in your class.
Exactly.
You did have hard times in classes. Sometimes you didn't understand subjects, but look where you are. And I'm so proud for how far you've come and what you're doing right now. And I just love to see women in STEM just being like, yeah, it was hard. It's not easy for me. But at the end of the day, it's how you get up. And that's what you were saying today is how you get up and show yourself like, hey, I can do this and I'm here. I'm fighting for this and I'm working hard and I'm making money and changing people's
100%.
lives at the same time.
Exactly. Exactly. So always make sure to take care of yourself before taking care of others. That's the main important thing.
I hope you know how proud I am of you. I say it every time, but I hope you know how proud I am. And I hope you are proud of yourself because this is a great accomplishment. And I've seen how much you've grown. And yes, having a great supportive system will help you get to where you want to be as well, like you were saying at the beginning of this pod.
Thank you. And I am so proud of you. And you know that you're doing amazing.
Thank you.
You're a natural. We're all so proud of you.
Stop. Continue. I'm joking. And so, yeah, for everyone listening to this, I just want to say if you're having a tough time, whether you're in pharmacy school or in biology or wherever you are, I hope this episode shows you like you probably see me on Instagram and you're like, this girl had it all. She knew what she was doing. But maybe, wait, I have an idea. Maybe next episode, we could ask you questions about how I went through undergrad and you can answer them because you're probably the closest one to that. But like, just to show you that our lives are not perfect. We didn't get straight A's. We didn't know what we were doing. We didn't know what we were doing. But at the end of the day, we just showed up. We kept on going. We kept on studying. We kept on fighting for what we believed in, what our passion was. And we made it. And I hope this podcast shows you how we all have our issues. We all have our problems and we just can keep going and just have a great time while we're doing it and have great friends along the way as well.
Yes.
Exactly. So next up is Career Corner. Career Corner is a listener submitted questions that I just ask you about questions, advice, and we just give our advice on. Sounds good?
Sounds good.
Okay. First question is I'm a pharmacy student and I'm scared about my exams. What's one study tip you have for me?
So, as I talked about before, pharmacy has a lot of memorization. You have to memorize like a whole chunk of things. So, what the most important thing is that you're understanding what you're studying, because if you don't understand it, it's never going to stick in your head. So, make sure you understand what you're studying. I mean, a visual person, you can try and draw it out. You can go into YouTube. There are a lot of stuff that a lot of people that can help with like the visual stuff. And then, yeah, make sure you understand what you're learning and it will stick in your head. You repeat it once, twice, three times, whatever is good for you. And make sure you also take small breaks, because if you overtire yourself, you're going to be studying for hours, but nothing will actually stick in your head. So, yeah, just take it easy, set timers maybe. And yeah, just take small breaks.
Yeah, I think the key to this is understanding because once you understand something, like it doesn't have to be word for word, it's going to stick in your head because on the exam, it's not going to be like word for or if this is what you saw, like if on your notebook is like Jack ate this apple, it's not going to come the same way like Jack blank apple. Fill in the blanks with it's not going to be that way. So if you understand the concept and truly understand what you need to memorize, when that comes on, like as you're saying, when that question comes on your exam, you will know how to answer that.
Exactly. And then one more thing I want to add.
Yeah.
In order to memorize drug names, you can try to maybe write stories. That's what I used to do. Like drug names, I would, because you're gonna have so many medications and drugs to remember. So I used to make up stories to try and keep. I even remember these stories right now.
Yeah.
So either make up songs, make up stories, whatever you want to try and keep it in your head. But at the same time, the main thing is obviously understanding things, as you said.
Second question is what's one habit you had during school that you carry till this day?
So I make sure to, even with all the chaos, all the studying, all the memorizing, the nights, the day and night studying, and now even like working and everything. I make sure to try and focus on my well-being, my health, and prioritize myself. Because if you don't, like, I would say, hang out with friends, call a loved one, catch up with someone, even if it's just over the phone or over a quick cup of coffee, I think that releases a lot of stress or relieves a lot of stress. And so I think that's one thing I try to focus on throughout these whole years.
Yeah, I think because like if your well-being is good, how are you gonna have the energy to show up and study or show up and do the work? If you are not relaxed or if you do not get a good night's sleep, how are you gonna show up for the exam and do a good job or retain the information that you had? Like you have to have, as you were saying, that balance of okay, I'm gonna work hard, but at the same time, I'm gonna rest harder because I need to restore that energy and use that energy to apply all the things that I'm studying, all the things that I'm doing. So I think, yes, your well being is super, super important. I second that as well. My third and final question is I'm a pharmacy student. What's one surprising thing you discovered being a pharmacist?
So, like here in the States, I would say the standing up thing in the pharmacy, like not sitting down. It was weird to me, like going into the pharmacy and seeing that there are no chairs, or like the first day I walked in, I was like, okay, where do I sit now? And they all looked at me and they were like, you don't sit, you just stand and you work. And I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Well, then, and my feet were killing me by the end of the day. And it was probably only like a 7 hour shift or something. But yeah, that was very
Only
surprising
7 hours?
to me. Only 7 hours. Yes, I do 12 hours. So it was pretty surprising, honestly. But your feet get used to it. This is what I will tell you.
Wow. Awesome. Well, thank you so much again. I'm so happy that you agreed to be on my podcast. And I'm so happy that people get to one, meet my best friend, and two, learn about the pharmacy world, especially the traditional route, because you have a traditional career of what a pharmacist looks like. For people who want to listen to an untraditional pharmacist, I also had an untraditional pharmacist on this podcast. I just bring all the things that's different, that's new, that's traditional. And I just want to say, Elissa, thank you so much for doing the work that you do, for giving us the advice that you just gave us. And I'm so excited for your future and to see where you'll be and just to be alongside you, cheering you on because can't wait to see where you'll be.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. And I am so proud of you. And I will also keep on cheering on for you always.
Thank you. And so, for everyone tuning in, I really hoped you enjoyed this episode. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and see you in the next episode.